What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Powerhouse Mentality Facebook group, Powerhouse Training on the Powerhouse Mentality podcast. I messed up my own intro, but we're going to go with it because I'm not as professional as everybody wants me to be. But beverage of choice, as always, you guys know, every Monday at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time in the Powerhouse Mentality Community Facebook group, I host a live training. It goes 1 week mindset, next week fitness nutrition, 1 week mindset, and we kind of flip-flop. But I always have a beverage. My beverage of choice is Maison Perrier Forever Lime because, again, this was on sale and it is what I have in my fridge. I don't know about you guys, but I just like bubbly water because it makes me happy. So you know what? And this one's really good. Like, I know I say they're all really good, but this one has like a nice hit on the end of it. Like, it's just different lime. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get into the topic of today. So the topic of today is twofold. Now, we're going to talk about the definition of insanity, and that's going to roll into 4 steps to breaking bad habits, which can also be flip-flopped into 4 steps on building the habits that are going to serve the life that you want. So first, we've all heard of the definition of insanity, right? No, it's not me, but it could be, right? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting a different result. And I'm sure that all of us have heard this, but the crazy thing is that most people have heard of the definition of insanity, and most people don't want to be deemed insane or be stuck in a rut where they're doing the same thing over and over again but not getting a result that they want. However, most people continue to do just that. They continue to do the same thing over and over again but expect a different result or want a different result. A lot of people, they say to themselves, today I'm not going to get angry. Today I won't eat like an asshole. Today I'm not going to skip the gym. I'm not going to hit the snooze button. But they don't actually do anything different. They have the same routine and they almost hope that it works out in their favor, right? Like, they start their day and they're like really hoping and fingers crossed that I don't make a stupid fucking decision today that's going to reflect on bringing me backwards and far away from my goal, right? It's like telling yourself that I really hope that I stick to my nutrition today, but you didn't meal prep. You didn't plan ahead. So now you're just winging it, and usually that doesn't work for most people. Okay? And that kind of comes down to the fact that you didn't do anything different. So why would you expect change? Because change requires change. If you do the same routine and expect a different result, it's literally insanity. And you'll probably go insane in the process. And hope isn't a strategy. Now let me talk about that because I want to zoom in on that. Because hope, faith, belief is fucking important. However, hope by itself is not a strategy. Hope is an incredible thing. Hope is being able to see the light in the darkest times. But without action, hope can't make that dream come alive. You see the light, but you never actually get there because you don't take the action necessary to take the steps forward. So you can hope all you want, and hope is a beautiful thing. Faith is a beautiful thing. Without it, you can't take the action. So you have to have the hope, but hope without action is pointless. It's useless. And people stay in that routine usually because they fear failure, right? They stay in that insane routine of doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result because they're afraid that they're going to fail if they make a change. They're afraid that they're going to fail if they start taking steps towards their goals. Now, I get it. Failure is scary, but failure is part of life. It is not a choice. You will fail at some point in your life. All of you watching this have failed. I've failed multiple times today. I failed so many times I can't even count it. And like I said, failure is part of life and you don't have a choice over that. it's going to happen. But the one thing that you do have a choice on, and you have to make the choice on, is learning from that failure, because learning from failure is optional. You have to make the choice to learn from the failure and then allow that failure or allow that loss to become your progress. So you have to consciously opt to do different things if you want to break the habit, right? You have to consciously opt to do different things because change requires change. You have to tweak and change things until you start earning the progress that you want, until you start seeing the results, until you are on the correct path. And that's where learning from your failure comes into play, because you might be on the right path and then you fail and you realize, okay, I hit a hurdle, so I need to reevaluate and jump back over it. And change and tweaking things is really hard. It's difficult. It requires thought. It requires additional effort, which is usually the exact reason why so many people struggle to break those habits or struggle to break that routine. Because even though they know that these things aren't serving them, sticking with the same unsuccessful pattern is easier. It's more comfortable. And a lot of people, unfortunately, find comfort in the pain of remaining the same because change is too uncomfortable. Now, let's talk about 4 steps to breaking bad habits. Because if you're aware, okay, I'm stuck in this insanity, I'm stuck in this monotonous routine that isn't serving me, but I don't know where to start, I don't know how to change, we're going to go over 4 steps on how to break bad habits. And I put bad in quotes because I like to not think of it as good or bad. I like to think of it as habits that serve the life that you want versus habits that do not serve the life that you want. That's how I like to look at it, whatever. And these 4 habits, these 4 steps, if you've read the book Atomic Habits, they are in that book. Atomic Habits is a book that I recommend to every single person in this group to read, every single person listening to this podcast to read, because it's going to help you break bad habits, learn how habits are formed, and really when it comes down to being successful or when it comes down to reaching your goals, whether it be fitness, life, career, whatever those goals are, it really comes down to habit and behavioral change. Because if I see your habits and your behaviors on a daily basis, I can usually predict if you're successful or not. And I'm sure you know that yourself. Like, if you know somebody who's always eating like an asshole, stopping for fast food, never goes to the gym, always sits on the couch and watches Netflix, is always super negative, drinks a lot of alcohol, those are their habits, then you can probably make a good prediction that that person isn't in phenomenal shape versus the person who's like at the gym and they eat right, and you know what their habits and behaviors are associated with that. You can probably make a good inference that they're really in shape and they're very healthy. So here are 4 steps to breaking bad habits, and I'm going to break down each and every one of them after listing them all out. So number 1, make it invisible. Number 2, make it unattractive. Number 3, make it difficult. And number 4, make it unsatisfying. So number 1, make it invisible. So you want to limit your exposure to the behavior that you're trying to break. So, for example, if every day after work you stop at McDonald's because you stop at McDonald's, for whatever reason, you stop at McDonald's for dinner, even if you have a good meal cooked at home or even if you have the right intention to eat something that serves your goals, but you always find yourself stopping at a fast food restaurant for takeout on the way home, take a different route home, right? Make that thing invisible, or as invisible as you can possibly make it. If you're a smoker and you want to quit smoking, this is like an obvious one, but like do the same thing. Like if you always stop for cigarettes at this store, go a different route because you're breaking that habit and it's going to break the behavior a little bit. So really it comes down to just breaking it up and making it less unconscious, because a lot of our life is on autopilot. A lot of the choices and the things that we do on a daily basis is on autopilot. So if you can break that autopilot, it's going to break a lot of things. Number 2, make it unattractive. So This step is going to take a little bit more time because it's something that you will progress over time and build on it. But tell yourself that you're not the person who participates in the behavior that you want to break. So let's go back to that smoking example because I think that it's a very easy one to understand. If you're quitting smoking, you have to no longer identify yourself as a smoker. So if somebody asks you, hey, do you want a cigarette? Instead of saying, I'm trying to quit smoking, you say, I'm not a smoker. Words are powerful. Perspective is powerful, and it really matters how you speak to yourself. So if you tell the story to yourself, I'm trying to quit smoking, it's going to be more challenging versus I'm not a smoker. I don't smoke. Start to see yourself as the person you want to be versus the person that you were or the person that you're trying to break. Number 3, make it difficult. And you do this in 3 different ways. You can choose, okay? Number 1, you can quit the habit cold turkey. This works for some people. Just stop doing it. Number 2, you can gradually reduce it over time. And this is how I find it works best for most people. Is like, say you're drinking a liter of Coke every single day, right? When I first started working at Crunch, I had, back almost 8 years ago, I had a client who was drinking 2 liters of Coke a day. And she was like, I just need to stop drinking it cold turkey. She tried that and it didn't work. So what we did instead is, okay, you're having 2 liters? Let's have 1.5 liters for a week. Then we'll have 1 liter, right? So we're slowly reducing it over time. That usually works for most people. Or you can replace it with a better, healthier habit, one that serves your goals. So same example, if you are drinking 1 liter of Coke every day and you know that that's not serving your goals, then what you could do is replace that with diet soda, right? Do something that's going to replace it with a different, better habit that serves your goals better. And number 4, make it unsatisfying. So usually if you do step 1 through 3, that habit is going to be unsatisfying. If you make it invisible, if you make it unattractive, if you make it difficult, it's going to become unsatisfying. So it kind of just like all leads into that one. And really, the basis of all of this is that you have to detach yourself from that habit. You have to remind yourself that this habit is not serving the person that I want to become. So if I truly want to become that person, I have to start telling myself a different story. I need to start acting as if. Think about what the person that you want to become, think about what they do on a daily basis, and then replicate that. Become that person. Act as if you are that person, and then you become that person. Because you are not what you want to become, you are what you say you are. So if you keep telling yourself, I'm a failure, I'm always the dieter, I'm always the fat friend, you're always going to be that person. So change that conversation that you're having with yourself and start telling yourself that you are the person that you want to become, and then act as if. Take action and replicate the habits that that person does. Now, if you want to build habits that serve you, that serve the life that you want, you would literally do the exact opposite of the 4 steps that I just broke down for breaking bad habits. So you would make it visible, make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying. That's how you build a good habit. So when it all comes down to this, when it all comes down to habits, the definition of insanity, like I said earlier, reaching your goals usually comes down to habit and behavioral change. Change requires change. So if you want to become a different person, if you want to have a different life, you have to break bad habits and build better habits. And again, the last thing I'll leave you guys with is read Atomic Habits. It's one of my top 5 books that I recommend to every single person on the planet because I think that it's so valuable and it adds so much perspective into what truly builds the life that you want and how easy it can be when you actually start using those steps. But if you guys need anything at all, comment down below. Any questions that you have, comment down below. The last thing I'm going to mention here is that on August 30th, I believe, I'll have to check the date. It's either the 30th or the 31st, but I want to say it's the 30th. Are there 31 days in August? I don't know. I'm the worst when it comes to months. I only know that October has 31 days, December has 31 days because of New Year's Eve and Halloween being on the 31st. Anyway, and then February has 28, sometimes 29 days. But anyway, August 30th, I'm going to host a master class for anybody who wants to be there. It's going to be a Zoom, so it's going to be interactive, so you guys can watch, you can comment, you can speak, but I'm not entirely sure what I want the master class to be on. I'm putting more thought into it so I can develop a topic that I believe is going to serve you guys the best and help more people outside of the community. However, comment down below if you have any specific topics or ideas that you feel would be best for the masterclass that would not only help you, but help everybody in this group and everybody who is outside of the group. That's what we're all about. We just want to help people get better. But go out and do one thing that's going to take you one step closer to where you want to be, and I'll see you guys next week.